follow up on the India tariffs. Do you expect increased trade negotiations, since you've announced the 50% tariff?
No, not until we get it resolved.
The US president has paused the trade negotiations with India. The team of American negotiators is no longer coming to India on August 25th. Which means beginning August 27th, this Wednesday, the additional 25% penalty will kick in and India would essentially be bearing 50% tariff on exports to the United States.
भारत एक ऐसा देश है जिसको टैरिफ से सबसे कम इम्पैक्ट होना, उसकी वजह क्या है कि आज जो लोकल कंजम्पशन है, आप जीडीपी जो नंबर्स आते हैं उस पर जो कंट्रीब्यूशन जो है वो जो डोमेस्टिक कंजम्पशन का लगभग 57-58% है। अगर जिस तरह के मेजर्स जो हम ले रहे हैं, जैसे जीएसटी में आदरणीय प्रधानमंत्री जी ने एक बार कहा कि रैशनलाइजेशन लाएंगे दिवाली से पहले, अगर वो हुआ और जिस तरह से इंटरेस्ट रेट कट किया हमने, जिस तरह से रेट कट किया और जिस तरह से हमने इनकम टैक्स में कट किया, सब मिला दे अगर तो लगभग 100 बेसिस पॉइंट का जो है स्टिमुलस मिल जाता है जीडीपी में। उससे समझ में आता है कि चाहे कोई भी इम्पैक्ट हो, हमारी अर्थव्यवस्था में जो जिस रफ्तार से चल रही है उसमें कमी नहीं आने वाली है।
While the BJP might be putting a brave face, Indian exports are likely to get impacted, while Indian goods and services will become little more expensive for US consumers.
I think it will hurt India. Let's not doubt that in any manner. Our exports to the US, which far exceed our imports from there, would find themselves becoming costlier, with the duty of 50% having to be paid to the US Border Customs and Border Protection Force. As a result, there could be, at a higher price, a fall in the demand for the Indian exports.
This would put Indian exporters at a disadvantage, as US buyers would likely choose exporters from other countries with lesser tariffs.
The President has put tremendous public pressure to bring this war to a close. He's taken actions, as you've seen, sanctions on India and other actions as well.
Russian oil trade has become the biggest point of contention between India and the United States. In fact, Trump administration has been singling out India to the extent of dragging down the spirit of overall bilateral relations between the two nations.
There were certain things that the Indian government did that generally rubbed the United States the wrong way. For instance, you generally buy your military gear from Russia. That's a way to kind of get up, under the skin of America if you're going to buy your armaments from Russia. So I think India is starting to move towards buying the military equipment from the United States, which then goes a long way. And these kind of things, just creating that relationship, being a part of BRICS, right? Which is, let's move to not support the dollar and dollar hegemony. That's not really the way to make friends and influence people in America.
Not that India has blinked.
We are not the biggest purchasers of Russian oil. That is China. We are not the biggest purchasers of Russian LNG. I'm not sure, but I think that is the European Union. We are not the country which has the biggest trade surge with Russia after 2022. I think there are some countries to the south. We are a country where actually the Americans said for the last few years that we should do everything to stabilize the world energy markets, including buying oil from Russia. Incidentally, we also buy oil from America, and that amount has been increasing. So, quite honestly, we are very perplexed at the logic of the argument that you had referred to.
We are calling out the hypocrisy and we are not giving in.
Funny is you have people who work for a pro-business American administration accusing other people of doing business. Okay, that's really curious. But here's the point: if you have a problem buying oil from India, oil or refined products, don't buy it. Nobody forced you to buy it.
This comment of Dr. S. Jaishankar came a day after Trump's tariff czar Peter Navarro went hammer and tongs against India.
India doesn't appear to want to recognize its role in the bloodshed. It simply doesn't. It's cozying up to Xi Jinping. Is what it's doing. It's not act. And by the way, I wrote that article in the FT just to deal with the propaganda of the Indian government to make people want to feel sorry for them. Oh, they need the oil. They don't need the oil. It's a refining profiteering scheme. It's a laundromat for the Kremlin. That's the reality.
But India is not keeping a low profile vis-a-vis its relationship with Russia, despite the very open bullying attempts from Washington. After National Security Advisor Ajit Doval, External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar visited Russia. Russian President Vladimir Putin also is set to visit India later this year. Russia, a steadfast partner of India for decades, is ready to back India and going as far as to offer 5% additional respite in oil purchases.
According to reports, President Trump decided not to impose extra tariffs of India, but in case there are some extra barriers and attempts to disrupt the relations by using this tool of unlawful competition, as we call sanctions, and unjustified tariffs as well. So it will not have a serious impact on the partnership between the two countries, because our relations are natural. Our economies are mutually supplementary. So, and that's why it would be absolutely clear that we will just find some ways to overcome these difficulties and take our relations forward.
China too is trying to find an ally in India in the fight against the larger US tariffs.
The United States has imposed tariffs of up to 50% on India and even threatened for more. China firmly opposes it. In the face of such acts, silence or compromise only emboldens the bully. China will firmly stand with India to uphold the multilateral trading system with the World Trade Organization at its core.
Indian exports to the United States is under 20% of its overall exports.
As of now, the chances are that these tariffs will continue, because on both the counts, India is staying firm. On matters of trade, we are saying we have clear red lines, that is the farming sector, broadly speaking, for which the 25 could very well continue, those percent tariffs. There is a bill in the US Senate which talked of even 100% or 500% tariffs. The American administration can bring that out also. So, as of now, the 25 plus 25, that is 50, to me seems will stay.
If China example is to go by, Trump is known to go back and forth. He started with 10% tariffs on China, went up to all the way till 245%, but in February and July, only to finally settle at 30%. If Trump does not backtrack, as he usually does, a loss of a few $1 billion is expected, but India is already preparing to brace the impact.
भारत अपने किसानों के, पशुपालकों के और मछुआरे भाई बहनों के हितों के साथ कभी भी समझौता नहीं करेगा। और मैं जानता हूं, व्यक्तिगत रूप से मुझे बहुत बड़ी कीमत चुकानी पड़ेगी, लेकिन मैं इसके लिए तैयार हूं। मेरे देश के किसानों के लिए, मेरे देश के मछुआरों के लिए, मेरे देश के पशुपालकों के लिए आज भारत तैयार है।
As a matter of fact, only 22% of India's GDP is export dependent. Global agencies like S&P have been bullish on India's growth despite the given geopolitical developments.
The Indian exports largely today to the US are pharmaceuticals, more vaccines, gems and jewelry, textiles, and automobile and other engineering goods. We could see at 50% tariff some of these products becoming uncompetitive in the US market itself. That would impact the volume of trade, volume of exports which India gets from the or is able to make to the United States.
If anything, Trump's tariff war is only strengthening India's resolve.
हमें मिलकर भारत को दुनिया की तीसरी सबसे बड़ी इकोनॉमी बनाना है। हमें मिलकर मेक इन इंडिया और आत्मनिर्भर भारत की सक्सेस स्टोरी लिखनी है।